Hello everyone, you are watching BC Now on CBC.ca and live on our YouTube page. My name is Yeung and we are out here in Abbotsford today. This is the beautiful Sumas Prairie, as you can tell. I'm on a farm. This is a blueberry farm, but they also grow something else pretty unique here. So we're here today because we're getting days away from the second anniversary of the devastating Fraser Valley floods. I think many of us remember one of the most devastating natural disasters to happen in BC. You know, dozens and dozens of people lost their property, lost their homes, and 2 years later, people are still rebuilding. And we're on a farm today that was really in the heart of it. The Sumas Prairie really was really in the middle of it, and water at that time, especially even on this farm, was about 5-6 feet high and even higher in certain other areas. So just coming in today, it was really quite something to see, to all the recovery that has happened, but lots still to go. And we're here at this farm today because one of my colleagues actually brought it to our attention. She actually brought this story initially to us a couple of years ago. So this is Baneet Braich. Hi, Baneet.
Hey.
Hey, so Baneet, so tell me, why did you bring us here to this farm, first of all?
Well, Lien, as you just mentioned, standing here today is so much different than what it was 2 years ago. Especially here, we would have needed a boat to be here. It was about 5-6 feet of water. And I remember standing kind of on the mountain over there and looking over the Sumas Prairie and thinking, how do you recover from this? It was like a lake, literally like it was almost a century ago in the Sumas Prairie. And it like scarred the community. As you mentioned, homes were lost, thousands and thousands and thousands of animals died. People were uncertain about their livelihoods, right? And
whether they'd ever be able to return.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And again, we're back because 2 years later, you don't see those 5 feet of water, right? But you know that people are still building back, and it's still a long recovery ahead.
Right, and this farm specifically has a bit of an interesting history. They set a milestone really for the entire region. So tell us about the unique thing that they were growing.
Yes.
And they're still trying to
Yes,
grow.
it is so fascinating. So saffron. Right, when you think of saffron, you think of this royal spice, oldest time, used by kings and queens, from perfumes to food, beauty routines, all of that. And then, it's grown in India, it's grown in Kashmir, in Iran. And then I heard it was growing here in Abbotsford. And I was like,
some of it right
you see it here, you see it right, this is all saffron, people. And I was like, what? That was so shocking. And the Fraser Valley is this place where you got dairy, you got poultry, you got berries, corn, and now you have this beautiful new gem to this community, which is saffron. And it's also known as the world's most expensive spice.
That's right. So I think it's about like $50 for a gram, something like that. Yes. And I think you actually heard about saffron being grown here in Abbotsford just before the floods,
yes.
Right?
So we were here just because we found out about this, and we spoke to our farmer Avdar, who we'll listen to later today. And when I came here, this whole field back there was just covered in purple flowers. And I saw saffron for the first time. I kind of tasted a little bit, and it was just so
fresh, because that doesn't happen really here.
Yes, and this farmer had 250,000 of these bulbs that were planted on this field. 6 years of experimentation, and he finally got to see his massive crop, and he said, "I'm the first to do it in BC." Again, that milestone, right? So we got to see that, and you got to see how excited he was to share his crops. He was bringing them over and showing us. So it was really a beautiful thing to see.
And then what happened days later?
So yeah, I think it was about a few weeks later, the flood, right? And I remember that day, I kind of immediately thought, oh my goodness, the saffron. And I didn't call Avdar right away because I knew it would be a very heavy time for him.
Yeah.
How do you process what's happening? But I think a few days later we checked in, and I remember just hearing the devastation in his voice, thinking like he was just torn. Like, what do you do when you spend that much time and energy producing this labor of love, really, right?
Yeah, and
so,
his hopes and dreams, right?
His hopes and dreams. But what he did tell me that day, Lien, is that his dream still persists, that he will not give up. And you come out here today and you can see he's not giving up. So it's going to be really great to speak to him about what that recovery is looking like. And he is right there.
We're here. His house is, of course, on the property, and it's much less saffron he's growing now. So how are you? Good. So Baneet gave us a little bit of background about, you know, how she came to hear about your story. And so, how are you doing? First of all,
we are still struggling, you know, and hard for us, you know, when we have a flood happen.
yeah,
We are still like in the same condition. We have just left it over in our garden area,
right,
and we are try to grow again.
right. So you're trying to grow again, but the area that now you have is much smaller than what you used
Much
to,
smaller,
right?
just.
So you, at that time, you had planted 250,000 bulbs, is what Baneet was telling us. How many have you planted now this season for the first time?
We have I think around 2,000 bulb.
Wow.
Yeah, and right now I think this one our second year,
Okay.
and we have almost maybe 20. I think 13,000 bulb this year we planted it.
More than last year, that's
More
for
than
sure.
last year,
but
yeah.
still not even close to the
Not even,
250,000.
yes, yeah.
And you're just doing it here in this garden plot right here, right?
Yes,
Can you
yeah.
show us a little bit? And I think
Yeah, this one
earlier we saw there were
Yeah,
still
we
a
can
couple
see the
flowers
flower,
left, right?
Yeah.
So for those who aren't familiar with saffron, it grows out of a flower
Yeah,
like
this one
it's a
see.
type of crocus, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
like if
And
you
so
can,
they just finished harvest. Didn't you? When was harvest for you?
I think we have 3 weeks ago we already harvest.
Right. So it was
All-
full of purple flowers
Yes,
then, kind
yeah.
of like when Baneet first
Yeah,
saw it.
all we are harvest.
Yeah.
Only I think maybe some
I'm
couple
not
of
gonna
more.
So, and this is the saffron right here.
Yeah, this is
right?
happening.
Those, the 3 red stamen inside each of those crocuses.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. And can you tell me about the value of that saffron?
This one we are selling we sell almost 50 grams,
Yeah.
and almost we have charged $50 per gram.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, can I smell it? Because it's kind of like a little bit like leathery, herby, a little
Yes.
bit of honey. What do you smell when you smell
It's
it?
very strong smell. Yeah. And we are try to start again, you know. But you know, one day I can't forget when we cultivator my crop even destroy the flood,
Yeah.
and I feel how hard to cultivate your own dream, you know.
It's hard to cultivate your own
Yeah,
dreams.
own
Yeah.
dream, you know. And I
Yes.
feel when I cultivate, I can't forget that. I still shocked when I feel devastating.
You still feel devastated.
Yes,
I can
yeah.
see it. I can see it in your eyes. It's really, really hard.
Yeah, very hard.
What was it like through the floods as you were watching all of that happen?
Yeah, we are, one day we are homeless, we don't have nothing to, we just cloth, where we cloth,
Just
we
the
leave.
clothes that
Yeah.
you had and you had to leave. Yeah, because you were forced to leave your home. You were evacuated,
Yes,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
And we know how is my family, all family, how hard we are going on that days.
And then how long was it before you finally came back home?
I think we take a 6-7 months we stay out of our home. Yeah.
Wow.
Then we rebuild, then we come back home.
Wow.
Mm.
And tell me about a little bit about that journey since then, Like when you came back to it and first looked at your property, I'm sure there was a lot to obviously first of all clean up. And then as you were thinking about rebuilding, where did your mind go first?
Yeah, one time almost we have a $3 million loss, But, we are thankful we have everybody safe, And, but we try to rebuild again, But I have one other house over there. We still not finished that one.
Right.
And we have to demolish and tear down that one.
Right, you're thinking you're going to just have to demolish it.
Yes.
Yeah. And we were talking a little bit about insurance and how it's a struggle now because you can't really insure these properties other than one insurer.
Yes, we don't have insurance because we are on the flood plan.
You're in a
here.
floodplain.
Yes, yeah, no insurance company covering.
But yet you still want to be here.
Yes, because farming our passion, and we are doing 2005 from farming, and we wanna still doing farming.
Farming's your
Yeah,
passion.
in this area, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Because we are try to grow saffron here, and I think in the world best saffron we can grow here.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, that's very interesting. So tell me a little bit. So you're experimenting, right, with different plots. So you've got a couple different types of soil that you're trying, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Can you show me a little bit of what else you're doing here on the farm? You know, saffron obviously not traditionally grown in North
Yes,
America.
yeah.
More likely you'd see it in Iran and some warmer climates.
Yes. Yeah. We are like we get funding from the Abbotsford communities, and all together we are doing like experiment and with the like tarp on it and some like without the tarp and different soil.
Right. So
And-
this is one plot that, you know, GP's got his camera on. This is one plot with some
this one.
soil here.
Yeah.
Oh, so you've got one box back there.
Yeah, one box there.
And then the
three-
one with the green kind of, the green metal kind of with the tarp over it. That's another
yes,
one that
yeah.
you're.
And the back side I have one over there too.
Right. Well, are you finding what's more successful than anything else right now?
Yeah, we are using like sandy soil this area.
Yeah.
That's why we are growing like a bit bigger bulb on the ground. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
And you can see the how many bulb like in the ground.
Yeah.
And it's like one bulb produce maybe 5 to 10 bulb every year.
Right. How was harvest this year?
Yeah, harvest is very good this year.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Good. That's nice to
A
hear.
little early, but very good this year.
You know, how far does that go to helping you feel like maybe there's a future, you know, to carry that big dream that you have of making this a saffron capital of BC?
Yeah, you know, it's a lot of farmers, they are interested, you know, they are contacting me to get some seeds, but I don't have enough, you know, and if government help us, you know, then I can go ahead, you know, but otherwise we take maybe 10 years to get 250,000 bulb again, you know.
Right, because last time it took you 6 years to
6
get to
years,
that
yes,
journey.
yeah.
And so now other farmers are contacting you, asking you for seeds. You're like, I barely have enough right now.
Yes, and I am worried about again, you know, I think last week is like a barrow pump, they are not working again, you know, and our dike full, like full again.
Right.
And a lot of farmers have water in their field.
Right, so what you're referring to is what essentially a lot of people say led to some of the flooding that happened around here, the dikes that are supposed to be protecting your land,
Yes, yeah.
the pump that's pumping and draining out that water.
Yes.
There's always fears around
All the
that
fear,
of
yeah.
that failing, right?
Yeah, and because, you know, most expensive crop, you know, and if it's again a flood happen, you know, and we can't survive.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
And I want to know, ask the government, take care of us, please.
Yeah. So you were also growing blueberries at one point over there, right?
Yes, yeah.
And tell me a little bit about your blueberry crop and how that fared after the floods.
Yeah, my blueberry crop, like we have like a 60%, almost 60% less crop this year.
Wow.
Yeah, I think like in the weather, because it's when it's like blooming and not proper pollination with the bee.
Right, so the pollination hasn't been
Yes.
working well because you said it was at one point too cold and then it was too hot.
Yes,
And all of that didn't work well. Oh, my colleague though, Baneet, I see has brought something out. What is she showing us? What do
Yeah.
you got there, Baneet?
I got
This one we
saffron.
harvest like dried saffron.
Ah, so this is from this harvest this
Yeah.
year. Lovely.
You can smell it.
Oh, it's beautiful. It's gorgeous. You can see that.
And we are drying some here.
This
too.
is, I'm just gonna put this in my pocket, okay?
Yes, yeah, you
I'm
can-
gonna
you
see
can
if somebody wants a,
This one we dry here.
wow. And where, are you finding a market, a good market for all
Yes,
this?
yeah, almost all sold, you know, this one all sold.
Yeah, I mean, I think local saffron must be really quite something. And I love to eat, so I'm sure lots of restaurateurs are
Yes,
just
yeah.
dying to get their hands on local saffron. That's beautiful. And is it staying mostly in BC?
Yes, yeah,
Yeah,
it's
probably-
in BC, yeah.
Yeah, very nice. And how long does it take for you to harvest, say, the 13,000 bulbs that you planted this year?
It's not too hard, you know, like we harvest every day. The flower that we like bloom, we harvest every day.
Bloom and then you harvest.
Yes, yeah.
And I think part of the priciness of all of this is that you have to do it all by hand, right?
By hand, yeah.
Right.
But easy work, you know, it's no need big like building for the storage, you know. like a blueberry. If we have a blueberry, and you need $2-3 million to make a freezer and other stuff, the equipment. But this one only just you can put on the 1 kilogram box.
That is true. Storage is much easier
Much
for
easier,
certain
yeah.
reasons.
You
Yeah.
don't need cooler and no other big equipment you need.
Right. Okay. Well, I think after people are interested in hearing what would help you now as you're thinking about rebuilding, because you feel like you say you still need the help. You guys aren't where you need to be yet. What's the assistance that would assist you?
Yeah,
help?
it's government, they just paying for the saffron we lost only 1%, And when we planting, in the saffron, and I go agriculture and I ask for, I have a new crop, I need insurance because we have a blueberry insurance every year.
Right.
Since 2005. And when I plant 250,000 bulb, and I go agriculture office and I ask them, I plant this crop, I need insurance. They deny this, say no, this is a new crop, we can't do this one.
Okay, so it's twofold. So one is that the recovery,
Yeah.
you got 1% of what you actually
Yes,
lost.
yeah.
So those funds weren't enough to make up for it. And then the other thing that you found is you're not getting the insurance that you need because you're trying to bring a new crop into the fold.
Yes, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, because it's like one bulb cost me $2, more than $2.50, $2.
Right.
And almost $500,000 my bulb when we planted.
Right, very interesting. All right, so that's all in terms of questions that I had for you. Baneet, did you have any questions for Avatar? And Baneet, I know you've been following this story much more closely than I have, and this is your neighborhood. Yeah.
Yeah, well, he has a guest that he wants to talk about because he's actually working in partnership with a professor who's out here experimenting with him.
Okay,
So
yeah.
I think, he's just
We're
calling
gonna
him over
go
right
and
now.
find him. Yeah, I think he's in his car.
But I think it's just,
Yeah, sure.
I think it's just fascinating to see that dream persist, right?
Yes, his dream does persist. Look at this saffron. This is beautiful. I can't even imagine how many flowers is in here because, each of these little steps, it's 3 stems. That's it. That's all you get out of each flower, hey?
Yeah.
Wow. And you've got some oil on your hand?
No, it's like water.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah, you can see.
right. And this is what gives the beautiful coloring often whenever we have dishes with saffron in it. Look at that. Gorgeous. How did you even think about saffron? Where did that come from?
Yeah, because I know we are growing in our country in India. They have like a Jammu Kashmir. They have this kind of weather,
Right.
and that's why I'm thinking about we have this mountain is like
You
it's
thought it
cold
might work.
weather. Yeah, that's why.
Ah, okay. Oh, and look, we have our special guest. This is your friend, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So who have we got here?
Thank you.
What was your name?
My name is Jawad Hadian.
Javed, so
Yes.
nice to meet you.
Thank
And
you.
so Javed, you're an agriculture instructor over at UFE.
Yes.
And you've been working with Avatar.
Yes.
And trying to, experiment and figure out how all of this is working.
exactly.
And he was telling us a little bit how he's got multiple plots happening right here, right? Can you talk us through a little bit just about what the experimentation you're doing and what you guys have found so far?
Yeah, so based on my observation in last growing season,
Yeah.
we identified some challenges related to growing saffron in this region.
Yeah.
So one of the main challenges was the too much rain during the winter time.
Sounds very West Coast.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So where we grow saffron in Iran is normally dry place, and we get some rain during winter time, but not that much. Maybe like in total less than 300 millimeter in the whole season.
Wow. Okay.
So here is too much rain.
And what are we
So
getting?
they
What were
can-
you finding that we get here?
So as I said, based on my observation last year, in last growing season, especially in cold weather in January, February, when the temperature is low and there is too much rain, so the bulbs cannot grow. They cannot uptake enough nutrient from the soil, and there is not enough air in the soil for these bulbs. And also, we had the incidence of disease, soil disease, especially like fusarium, pythium, those kind of disease.
Okay, interesting.
So yeah, so
And
for
you're
one,
doing a whole bunch of monitoring, right? Like, can you tell me what these
yes.
little electronic boxes? It looks like
Yes.
sticking out of the ground here.
Yes, so for this year we are growing, we raised the beds
These
more
yeah.
than last year, so provide more drainage for the
Okay.
soil.
Yeah.
And also
I'm gonna come right in
these
here.
sensors actually are here and to measure the soil moisture
Okay.
and also temperature.
Ah, okay.
Yes, so we
And
are monitoring the soil
Where's
moisture
the actual sensor?
in the soil.
Oh, so inside.
Yeah, it's like 50 centimeter deep in the soil.
Okay.
And we measure here moisture and temperature in different depth.
Yeah.
And for these two, we are going to cover. It's a bit early yet, but in next 2 weeks we are going to cover with plastic and some other covers to protect them from rain during winter time.
Right. And potential of frost.
Yes, and see like how it will work in different like microclimate inside the plastic.
Okay.
And we are also trialing different soil types, like soil which have like good drainage, and soil which are like a bit heavier to see which one is better for growing saffron.
Yes.
And other than that, also we are working on nutrient management and pest and disease identification.
Did you ever think that you would see saffron growing here in British Columbia?
No, I couldn't believe it. Yeah.
That's funny. So did you find Aftar, or did you find, how did that relationship work?
In my interview, my colleague told me that the farmer is growing saffron here.
Yeah.
So when I was hired here and I started my job in July 2022, in 2 weeks I called Avatar. I found her phone number and called Avatar, and I came here and we meet us and we are working.
Does it remind you of home, seeing any of this?
Of course, yes, of course.
That's nice. That's great. So you saw him kind of through the floods then?
No, it was after the flood.
Just after.
Yes,
Okay.
yes,
Did you have any advice for him after the floods? Because that really changes,
Yes.
soil structure changes all of that.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. What was your advice for him after?
So I was here actually almost maybe 6 or 9 months later,
Yeah.
when he was trying to recover
Yeah.
from the flood and growing the saffron again.
Yeah.
So for flood, I can't say anything what to do.
No. But I mean, like in recovery, in terms of that.
Yes, in recovery, we just, as I said, we are like trialing different type of soils to provide drainage.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Right. We'll
Yeah.
see how it goes. And so I guess harvest is already done, right? So
Yes.
after harvest is already done, and then
Yes.
now, what's kind of the next big step for you that you're going to be watching for? When do you replant again, or what happens kind of next from here?
Per next year, yeah, when we have I think in July, Javid?
Yes,
In June, July, we can dig out and we can replant it.
Okay,
Right.
and then maybe hopefully by then you'll have enough seeds to share, or that you'll get some of the
Yes,
support that you're looking for.
Yes, yeah, because multiply, like some bulb produce 4 or 5 bulb in the year.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we wish you the best of luck, Aftar and Javid, as well. Thank you
you.
so much for sharing your story, your expertise with us, and for welcoming us here in the farm. And thank you to Baneet for also introducing us to this really wonderful, interesting story. And, we all wish the best for your hopes and dreams, that all of that does come true. Thank you. And thank you to all of you for tuning in to BC Now. I'm Lien Yeung. Have a great afternoon.
Thank you.